Listen. Behold, a sower went out to sow. And it happened, as he sowed, that some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds of the air came and devoured it. Some fell on the stony ground, where it did not have much earth, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no earth, it withered away. And some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no crop. But other seed fell on good ground, and yielded a crop that sprang up, increased, and produced some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. And he said to them, He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Then we'll go to 4:13. And he said to them, Do you not understand this parable? How then will you understand all the parables? The sower sows the word. And these are the ones by the wayside, where the word is sown. When they hear, Satan comes immediately and takes away the word that was sown in their hearts. These likewise are the ones sown on shallow ground, who when they hear the word, immediately receive it with gladness. And they have no root in themselves, and so endure only for a time. Afterward, when tribulation or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they stumble. Now these are the ones sown among thorns. They are the ones who hear the word, and the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desires for other things, entering in, choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. But these are the ones sown on good ground, those who hear the word, accept it, and bear fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, some 100. Okay, we can start. So, I think I have a lot I want to say, or maybe just a little. I can't decide. The first thing I want to say is these are my favorite kinds of scriptures where Jesus gives maps, the maps of the way, of the stages. My very favorite, obviously, is the Beatitudes. That's our best map. Anybody wants to know what are the stages of spiritual growth to union with God, then the Beatitudes are it. But here's another map Jesus offers us. And I don't know for sure what I want to say. Two people, well, there's a few in here, several people are now in the stage where we decide if they're the kind who go away when the tribulation begins because of the word. Right? One person here, we just found out is not going to get immediately eaten up. They're here. And it's great. So then there's others that are here for sure. So lots of people not here tonight, but there's others that are here for sure. And they're in that stage where they're deep enough that the candy is over, okay, and it's time to do serious work. And one guy called me today or yesterday, can't remember, and it was just beautiful what he said. You couldn't ask for better language to know he's on the right track. And here's what he said. He said, my reputation is mattering a lot less to me. And I'm just paraphrasing. If I get it wrong, don't hit me later. This person. My reputation is not mattering to me much. And he said, but because of it really doesn't matter to me, I'm messing up more around people. Which happened to me 10 years into my journey. Then they removed my ability to care what anyone thought about me. And it turned out a lot of my motivation to be a spiritual dude was because I cared what people thought. And it just went away. They just took it away. And that's what's going on with this person. So they're worse now. Little things are slipping out they wouldn't have said before when they've got to present an image to people. So the person looks worse, but they're better. Looks worse, but they're better. This makes sense. Because of the Christian spirituality. So think about this. This person has to lose themselves completely without losing who they are at all. That's the Christian way to enlightenment. So they have to lose all the false identity. Everything about it has to die. And they're one of the people just heading into that phase that kills you, where you die. The best part of the path, man, where you get killed. And you have to die on the cross with Jesus. And it's delicious. But it looks like, like you're bleeding and sweating. So that's what's happening with this person. And they're not in the deep dark of it yet, but they're on the periphery. And they're just noticing I'm messing up more around people because my sharpness around people had to do with reputation and social standing. And listen, everyone has to die to that, even if you've died already to it. But if that's ringing a bell, if your presentation in public is different than who you really are in private, you're still lying. And just stop lying. Like, think of what you're defending. Heaven awaits, right? The kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's here. It's here now. And what's in the way of it? What is it? It could be a lot of things, but it's clinging to self. It's clinging to self. Clinging to I'm a professional. Clinging to I'm spiritual. Clinging to I'm fit. Clinging to I'm fat. It doesn't matter. What are you clinging to? You have to let it go. Then another person today sent me a text. It was wonderful. I was pacing. I like to pace, so I pace on the property, back and forth, back and forth. And so I get this text, and I'm going to maul what it said, but basically the gist of it is, I'm really suffering. This person is now being brought into the night. Not in the heart of it where it just gets bleak, but on the way in. Okay? And all the time being shown that everything they do is a lie. Everything they do is a lie. It's all fake. It's not real. It's all made up. It's not real. And this person asked me, when does it ease up? And, that stage can last 10 years. Like, if you are on a contemplative journey, that stage, Jesus said some 30, some 60, some 100-fold, right? Does that ever put a little fear in your heart? It does me. What if it's only 30? What if it's not 100-fold? What if the good I could bring my family is just 30. What decides that? Largely, how complete how complete your purification in the night is. That's what decides how high you go in the end. That. So then, all of a sudden, you don't want to be quick. Maybe you're like, well, I'll be quick if I'm quick. But you don't talk to God and say, man, make it quick, please, ease up on me. You don't want it to ease up. Because your roots are just going deeper and deeper and deeper in the ground. And when it ends, that's as high as the tree grows, is how deep those roots went. That's how high the tree grows. This is the Christian path. So if you're ever tempted to brush it off, and you could come out of it if you want. I know for me, when I was in that stage, 8 to 10 years stretch is about what it was. And I courted it every day. I just would lay on my side, and daughter would be running around, goofing around. Like she'd come, I'd be really happy with her. Then when she would run off, I'd lay back on my side. I'm on the couch anyway, couch potato. And I would just say, God, please, 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 don't let me lose this deep, dark humility that I don't even have, that I'm just barely touching. Please, God. And I would feel it, but it was already coming. I wasn't creating it, but it was there. But you can just drink coffee and it's gone. You could just choose to be happy that day and it's gone. You could just say, I'm going to cheer up today, and it's gone. It's there, and God's speaking, and then our ideas of what things ought to look like, our ideas of what spiritual should look like, right? I'm so spiritual, so I must be happy. They're gone, and then you can shortchange that initiation into Christ's death, which is literally 50% of the enlightenment he transmits to us is his death. 50%. His death. And, by the way, at the bottom of that place, the bottom of the night, is a profound experience with the Father. The dimension of the Trinity, which is the Father. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that dark light. You don't want to miss it. So if you're, trying to say this right, if you're skimping on inventory, stop skimping on it. If you're aloof, you're just so you're timid. You're always a step behind everything in your own life, always stepping back. Don't do that. Because there is great power waiting to be poured on you. But it can't be poured on you unless you're 100% certain it's not you when it is poured on you. See, like Eastern mysticism, Christian mysticism, let's contrast that. Why is Eastern mysticism a disaster for Americans? Because they don't complete it. So Eastern mysticism says you are God, and so everyone runs around and says, I'm God. We're all God. But the end of that journey is you cease to exist as an individual completely. Well, Americans run around and say, I'm God, and stay themselves. So then you just have narcissistic spirituality. This is why the New Age is such a wreck for so many people. It's why it destroys and wrecks so many people. They're just doing half of a system that really knows what it's doing, but they're just doing half of it. Okay, but that's not what we're doing at all. We're doing Christian mysticism. Well, what is that? Well, Christian mysticism is you enter that power completely, but you completely remain yourself. And you never for a minute confuse yourself with that power. You just stay a little old Clinton. Just a normal person. Nothing special at all. That's why when you read the disciples, you'll think they seem so human. They just seem so human. When I came from the Eastern perspective and I read them, I thought, I don't know if they have it. They just seem like people. Yes, That's the point. Jesus taught an enlightenment where you stay you, but you surrender yourself utterly forever, and you remain yourself in enlightenment. Any degree, any percentage of clinging to the self, the false self, the ego self, the image we present to the world, any of that remains means we can't go all the way into the light, and we can't be given power, because the power will be turned into self and ruined by it. It could even destroy the person. So in here we have people moving towards the night. We have people pretty far into it. We have some people that are on the way out of it. We have some people that are all the way out of it, which brings us to the thorns. So the concerns for this world choke it out. So you've died to yourself. Things are really good, really good. You could do a lot of things from that space, and you're digging it. If you got kids, it's like pure joy to have them. It's just pure joy. If you're out in nature, it's incredible. It's so neat. It's so neat. And you can get looking horizontal instead of vertical. You can cease to be passers-by. Right? Jesus said, be passers-by. Why? What does he mean? It means the form our life is taking is kind of nothing to us. It matters in that it's an expression of God. But be passers-by means detached, on the way out of where you are. Be passers-by. What stops that? The concerns for this world. Riches, he says, but he says a lot of different things at different times. But the care and concerns of this world. And it's really tempting because life's really good in this stage. It's really good. But it seems like our country's in almost a state of perpetual theater, where it's just the next exciting political thing they can watch. I don't care which side you're from. It's becoming fake wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. People are completely, this is what is occupying their mind and heart all the time. That person is not going to become a saint. It's not possible. Be passers-by. Be passers-by. Leave that behind. Kill it. That's the trick. And Teresa of Avila, one of the greatest saints ever to have lived in the Christian tradition, she said the third stage, which is this thorn stage, is a stage that shouldn't exist at all. It only exists because people get there and camp out. They're just like, I don't know, man, this is pretty good. And also, like that guy that texted me today that was having some purification. I said, yeah, man, every 15 minutes I break out in a hot sweat today. And I didn't share all the dread that I'm feeling coming out of my lower stomach because I'm being purified. That's all day today. It only stopped 20 minutes before it's time to speak. All day long, sweat and a purification I can't describe. I don't know how to describe it. And I said, and I'm so grateful. I just feel such a loss on a day when that isn't happening. You guys remember the monk that taught me Christian theology and mysticism? I said, man, I got a friend who's not had any bad days for 10 straight years. And he said, that's someone who stopped growing 10 years ago. That's what he said. So, I mean, I admit sometimes it's a little hard, like I had to say a couple of prayers today, like, hey man, it's weird. It's like you're working so hard, you're not doing anything, but you're being worked by the power. You're not working it. This is what Spencer said. Spencer came in from Eastern stuff, and as long as he was doing breathing techniques to make it happen, he loved it all. As long as he was renouncing something, he loved it. But when he became Christian and had to give up all of that and not be the creator or worker of it, when it started happening to him the way God wanted it to happen, not the way he wanted it to happen, when he had to just sit there and take whatever God gave, then came rebellion. Then came, I don't want to do this if I don't get to choose my day today. If I can't make myself, whatever. He was even doing celibacy. But when he was doing it, he liked it, but not when God removed it. Then he didn't like it. See, what does that leave him? It leaves him in charge. It leaves him in charge. Then there's no threat at all, and also no enlightenment at all. None. Spiritual ego. That's what it leaves him. But he's past that. He's past that. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is don't miss. I'm not going to talk about my spiritual experiences much anymore. I'm going to have them for a long time. But I just want to say, don't miss. It's right here. It's right here. Miracles of healing. Right? That's for you. I know for sure. I know for sure. They don't happen very often until you get up into 5 or 6 out of the 7 stages. You get right up around 5 or 6 and the miracles will start to happen through you for other people. That's just when it happens, and it's just the way it is. You don't drum it up. You don't work yourself up into a heat with it. You don't drink a bunch of coffee and get excited. You don't need to create a ritual out of it. You'll accidentally do it sometimes just by touching someone, but it's just a matter of power. How much power is in you? Don't wait it. Don't balk at 2. Don't balk at that. Don't try not to drag your feet. I did, so you're in good company if you do. I mean, I don't know if you're in good company, but we hang, man. We can be friends. It may not be that good of company, but try not to balk. It's not so bad. The only thing dying is who you're not. And what God made is what's left. And there's an identity there you're one of God's ideas. You of course you want to let go of arrogance or shame and insecurity to find out, what am I? You're one of God's ideas. It's neat to discover that. It's neat. You don't have to label it, or you don't have to make an identity out of it, get a tattoo of it or something. It's just what's there when everything else is gone. And it's wonderful. And it's way more interesting than what's going on in the world. I couldn't care less. Just don't care. This is way more interesting. Way more interesting. We slay dragons. We slay dragons. That's the journey. Don't cling to your perfectionism. Let it go. Let it go. Don't cling to your image. Some people here are very successful in the world. Good. I mean, I don't think you have to give up your success, but it is dust. It is dust. It means nothing. And it will mean nothing to you when you taste anything around stage 5. You'll realize that it is all poverty. It is poverty. Listen to this from Teresa of Avila. So if you're still doing that, you're kind of hoping people see you as spiritual or professional or capable or, you make it up. I don't know. Really great athlete or I don't know what. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something worse and dumber like what I do. But that's all neat at least. At least there's some good in it. At least there's some good things in it. But don't cling to it. Let it go, because it is the only thing stopping you from going into heaven. That's it. Professional isn't this. Capable, it isn't humble. The things you're being, these just identities you pick up, they're not, it's not this. It's not like God says, well, that guy's still worrying about his image, so I won't let him in. That's not it. Worrying about your image is why you're not in. There's literally there's no middleman there. There's no middleman there. Control is not open. Capable is not humble. You think of those things you're being, they're the only reason you're not in heaven. The only reason. There is no other reason. Bad, I'm bad. No good. I know some of that runs deep. I know. But it's just stopping you. It's just stopping you. And we're clinging to dead men's bones instead of going into the light. And there's enough people here moving up into the higher stages now. It's just, look, that's it. You found a place where it is really happening. You are really doing it. And your success is based on one thing. Are you willing? Because Jesus gives it for free. It's not karma. It's not your astrology. It's not your numerology. All that stuff is dust. That stuff is under his feet. That stuff means nothing. That stuff is just nothing. It is Christ who gives it, and he gives it for free. Will you let him? It's not about your abilities. It's not about how gifted you are. If you're spiritual gifted or no spiritual gifts, Jesus just doesn't care. Will you let it go? Will you let it go? If the answer is no, he'll still get you there. It'll just be like a few years before the answer is yes. Wherever you are, it'll happen. Wherever you are, it will happen. John of the Cross, one of the other great Christian saints, said, "This is not for people who only want to walk sweet paths. just imagine this, okay? If some people were raised poorly enough, they might not have a memory from childhood, so this might not work for them. But if you can remember a time when you were pretty sweet and pretty innocent and just cute, like kids are so cute and quirky and so just, they haven't put on very many identities. They've started, but it's not very strong yet. Who they are is just really there. There's no pretense. It's so neat. Imagine being like that again while standing in the glory of heaven. That's Christian enlightenment. And that's why when you read Peter or Paul, you think, oh, they're just people. Yeah, who raised the dead. People who, like Paul, he's sleeping on the ground and they lay a cloth on him for a little bit and then take the cloth off and go cure sick people with that cloth because so much power is radiating off of his body. That Paul who did not lose his personality at all, that guy, that's Christian enlightenment. And it requires that a more refined kind of purification. It would be easier to just snuff the person out as the Hindu system teaches. But then there'd be no person left. So that's one way. I'm not even saying it isn't legitimate. But the biblical revelation says God made you and it's good. It's not to be snuffed out. It's not for being snuffed out. God made it. It's a good idea. You're one of God's good ideas. You don't snuff that out. So then, but the purification required to get that person into union without identifying or taking pride of any kind with that union. That's the way. So stop being professional. Stop being smart. Stop being whatever you're being. Stop it. Hate it. Wish it was gone. Good, perfect. Stop. Stop. Okay, Teresa said, pray that the people around you will think lowly of you. Pray it sincerely. When you could want that with great joy in your heart, you're on the way. And that doesn't sound like dread. Pray that the people around you will think lowly of you. And if you find some of that, you'll be going into some situation and they'll shine the night on you instead of any joy and you'll look like shit. And you'll spend an hour not trying to be something for people. You now have just the beginning of it. The beginning of it. I'm just losing that false identity, that lie. I mean, when I read that she said, pray that people think lowly of you, my reaction was horror. It's like, I said, no way. I mean, I'll let them think. I'll allow people to think lowly of me, but I'm not going to ask for it. That's just a bridge too far. It's here now. right now. The power's here now. Just stop being everything but that.